Hi everyone, this is Killshot from 99 Gaming. This is The Walking Dead What If Sunday morning. So thank you everybody. Appreciate you being here on this Sunday morning, and we've got some topics to talk about. I know it's a little different lineup today. We're going with a more of hypotheticals because we get a lot of questions. What if this person was still alive? What if this happened? And I've got a series of questions that we're going to ask. And also, this is the return of the Cuervo Queen. You guys can see Steph is back in full effect. Welcome back. It's good to see you. Everything's coming through loud and clear. Give me a quick 999. I do have an announcement. We're going to change things up a little bit for tomorrow. Schedules are meant to be changed. So, before we get into that, I do also want to say happy birthday to one of my patrons, longtime subscriber, Diane Jones. Hey, Diane, happy birthday. Thanks for everything you do for this channel. Appreciate you. And I don't know which birthday song. You know what? I'll make it up in one of the random things because it's a little bit more casual there. So we owe Diane a birthday. We'll go with song. But we got so many things that we're going to do over the next couple weeks, some different streams, some different formats. I know we got a music thing in the works. We have been adding that partly to random things. But I'm going to get into today's topic, and then I'll announce the rest of the week in just a little bit. So somebody popped in. He's like, well, if Carl was immune, he'd still be alive. What's the point? That is the point. That's exactly the point when you say what if, because the writers wrote him off. And I am going to propose something would have been even more eventful, more groundbreaking for Carl. I think that they should have given him the immunity. They should have given him something they have not given anybody else in The Walking Dead. What if Carl were immune? What if he was bitten and that could be used as a weapon? So I want you to leave your comments right now, just some different ways that Carl could be a part of the show. And if he had something, maybe his DNA was different, maybe it was just his habits, his health, anything along those lines, how do you think that would have played the storyline out just a little bit differently if Carl would not have died via Walker? And here's something that's very interesting. If you want to look at, I know we're still talking about Nick on Fear the Walking Dead as well. So think of two things that have happened. One, Carl was able to withstand an onslaught of humans. Nick was able to survive an onslaught of walkers. Carl died via walker. Nick died via human. Little bit of a twist, I know. Maybe I'm reaching just a little bit. Red Razzle says Rick would not have spared Negan. But think about Carl. You know what? I was thinking that. Who said, Grim Reaper said, the chocolate pudding saved him. If Carl were immune, I'm telling you what, people would have been looking for chocolate pudding all over the place. They would have been looking for anything that Carl had done, like in his past. Eugene would have wanted to create a cure through Carl's blood. Absolutely. And see, that's kind of what I'm going for. Yes, I did. And Scott, I've just been making so many announcements. I did see the super chat. Let me also jump over to that because I do want to get into this topic. Scott says, I'm not going to say anything major, but there are some S9 photos. It is crazy information that's out there. So, Scott, your super chat actually ties into a schedule change. So many people are just aching to get out there and talk about Season 9. And last year, this is what we did. We went episode by episode, and I still think that we're going to do that. So, Scott, to answer your super chat question and to talk about what we're going to do tomorrow night, we are going to do Season 9 Shockers. We're going to do this on Monday night. We're going to replace the Fear recap. So tonight, when we do Fear reactions, we're going to talk a little bit more about the show and how we feel about the show. But tomorrow night, instead of doing a recap of Fear, we're going to start talking about Season 9 of The Walking Dead. The pictures are surfacing. People are out there filming. So we just can't let this go another 3 or 4 weeks. I was going to start this the first week of June once there was a little bit more data. But the data is happening faster and faster. So, yes, tomorrow night, Scott, it's all about Season 9. The Cuervo Queen says, I kind of wonder if he would have went back behind Rick's back and kept negotiating with Negan if he were still alive. Good point. Fluff says blood transfusion. So we've thought about this for a while. But why not? Why not Carl? So the writers wrote him off because they wanted to end the war. If Carl was a weapon, wouldn't that have ended the war? Don't you think people would have been more interested? They're not going to kill the person or anyone close to the person that has the cure. That's the way I would have wrote it. I would have just had that walker bite, start to heal. I would let Carl walk out in front of the saviors, get bit, show them that there's something there. And what it also would have done, it would have ensured his place in history. And I think the torch would have been passed. So leave a few comments on what would have happened if Carl were the first person on the show to be immune. How that could have changed. You know what? I think it would have even been a good subplot. That even though you still have challenges and you have people out there, people would have wanted to capture Carl. It would be a subplot, like you guys said, with Eugene, with the other scientist. Grim Reaper says if he lived, Negan would have offered him to be the number 2 to train him as the leader. But I do think it would have, instead of just living and surviving, at some point, somebody has to be immune. I'm going to throw this question out there for the group. Everybody watching, once again, I appreciate everybody being here on Sunday morning for these what-if categories. Also, we are going to put some polls and some surveys. Next week's what-if category is going to be strictly for my Patreons. So on the Patreon website, a lot of people, you guys can see up there, to support the channel. I'm going to ask them the question, and they're going to come up with next week's topic. And the week after that, we're going to do a 999 Army Facebook fan poll, and we're going to let all of you decide what you want the topic to talk about, whether it's Shane, whether it's Negan, whether it's Judith, whether it's Beth, whatever the case may be, a what-if category, and we're going to pick some of the best ones out there, because the truth is we want to talk about what you want to talk about. So transfusions, 2 positives make a negative. I think it was possible for Rick's blood and the virus to attack Carl's virus in his body and cancel itself out. That confused me, Janet. I need some coffee for a Sunday morning. I think that comment canceled my brain out. So 2 positives make a negative. No, Fluff. No ELO. Stop kissing up, Fluff. You get no more points. We already did the ELO topic. What if Rick Grimes was a member of ELO? Is that going to be your topic? So let's get back to some potential things that would have happened. And how Carl could have taken over as the leader of the New World. So Janet Person says, AMC gave Lenny James a choice between moving and killed off. I think Carl would still be alive if they had gone that route. Well, let me ask the group this question. Do you think at some point in The Walking Dead or Fear the Walking Dead that someone will be immune? Do you think that's a potential story? Will we ever see it? Is it going to happen? Are they going to write it in? So, if they're not going to write it in, if there's no way to save humanity, are we just going to watch for 3 or 4 years as everybody eventually dies? I'm pretty sure he was buried in Alexandria. Wasn't there like some half-burned buildings in the background when Rick was digging? So Brian Gilligan says, I would like to see an immunity story toward the end of the series to give hope for the future. So why not Carl? And I guess the point is maybe it's a little too soon. Well, to a degree, Casey. So Casey says, we all eventually die. But it doesn't mean that all of humanity is going to die. And at this point, if there's not a cure found, people are dying much faster than people are being born. So the show is going to end a couple different ways. Everybody has to die. So let's fast forward a little bit to get back to my previous question. Let's think 3 or 4 seasons down the road. When the show ends, does the show end with everybody dead? Or does the show end with some hope? Does the show end with a group living that's never been infected, or somebody who does get bit that survives it? Because I think in order to answer this question, we have to think about 3 or 4 years down the road. Maybe 5. Maybe the show lasts for a while. So I think most people are saying with some hope, right? It's why we watch. I mean, we don't watch every week to see, well, actually we do. You know what? Scratch that. I was about to say we don't watch every week to see who's going to die, but yeah, it is The Walking Dead. That's not why we watch. We're interested in who's dying, but we're not watching every week to say, "Oh man, I hope this person dies." I guess that was the point. Okay. So if most people do feel that either the next generation's immune, or very possible people born afterwards could be immune, or, okay, let me ask the follow-up to this then. Come on, 999 Army, I need your full support here. If it's not just the people born after the apocalypse happened, if it's someone else besides Carl, which character, and you can take both shows, you can take Fear the Walking Dead and you can take Walking Dead, which character would you like to see immune? Oh boy. Red Razzle. You know what? I'm definitely going to add that stream for Pete D. Tara is immune. That would crush his world. Steph, if Daryl is immune, it's only because he has about 10 layers of dirt all over his body. So if a walker were to bite him, it's only going to get dirt, and it will never actually go into the flesh. That's the advantage of not bathing for 6 years. You know what? I know. I just pissed off half the Daryl fans. You know how Who was it up there? It was Angela. Angela Savage says her boyfriend was glad Carl died, and that was reason to dump. You know what? That comment right there, Angela, might have made half my viewers not real happy. We got some serious Daryl fans. I'm not reading that. Okay, let's get back to if Carl were immune, and there's a ton of trolls out there. Once this video goes live, you got people in comments, they just come in and say, Carl was not immune, you idiot, he's dead. They always say that because they don't listen to more than 5 minutes of the stream and understand that a lot of what we talk about is hypotheticals. So, yeah, you can't rationalize with someone with the attention span of a gnat. I've learned that long ago. So, for the deeper audience here, for the people who want to dig into it, let's think about, look, Carl's growing up. If you watch a show like Stranger Things or even Game of Thrones, and you realize that sometimes there's a year and a half between filming some of these shows, and people that were 12, 13, all of a sudden they're like 14, 15, 16. Like, whoa, how are you going to do that? How are you going to make someone that just grew up look younger? But Carl, we went through it. We saw Carl grow up. And I think we were okay with Carl's appearance. So Rick is getting older. And if Rick is getting older, why not pass the baton to Carl as the leader? If you make him immune and start to develop that storyline, people will follow him. I mean, probably borderline idolize him, worship him to a certain degree. I mean, this is a different time and a different place. Humanity is basically reset. We're going to slow it down, open it up for a couple comments here. And this should be something that would resonate with the Carl fans. And you know what? Hold on. I'm going to trick the hardcore Carl fans right here, but I got to whisper it so they don't know what I'm doing. So Carl fans out there, what is a better story? For Carl to be dead and no longer be on the show? Or for Carl to be immune and to take over the leadership role on the show? What do you think, Carl fans? Still alive? This is why I think that it should have been something dramatic. If the writers really wanted to make that impact and they wanted to say, this is going to be memorable, he's going to end the war, and some of it was a little corny. I mean, probably as corny as me whispering into the microphone just now, but some of it was a little corny where it's all for Carl. We can't kill Negan for Carl. We got to keep him alive. And that's going to carry over into season 9. Right, Wilson? Haiti says, I would like to see him be the leader if Rick died. Wilson preferred to see him alive. That's what I'm talking about. The group already respected him. So, see, that would have been a boost. It would have been a boost I could have gotten behind because I'd have been like, what the? Wait a minute. Think about the drama around that. Raise your hand if all of you, if Carl would have healed from this walker bite, if all of you would have started going back through episodes and like flipping through papers, your journals, your notes, like, what did he do? What did he do differently? Had to be the chocolate pudding. It was definitely the chocolate. Wait a minute. You know, something changed. I know I would have. We'd have been streaming that for hours, looking for every little clue we could possibly find. Every video, every previous episode. But instead, what we got was the saviors. And this is the same saviors. Let me point this out. Who were starting to get beat anyway. So even though they wanted to hype it up as Carl was the reason the war ended, Carl really wasn't the reason the war ended. Carl is the reason why Rick didn't kill Negan. Because last I checked, the Saviors threw down their weapons and had their hands up, and it had nothing to do with Carl. Zero to do with Carl. So hold on one second. Wait a minute here. Wait. We got some alternative facts here. You know what? I think Mr. Gimple just pulled the wool over our eyes, and it just popped in my head. So when they killed Carl, they sold it off as said, the future. Carl is the future. Right? I mean, that's the way they made us all accept it. Like, don't worry. It's a bigger story coming. It's going to be important by the time we get to the end of it. But that's not the truth. Because, look, the Hilltop was beating the Saviors. Georgie already showed up. It had nothing to do with Carl. There's a lot of side bets. Oceanside is still in play. No. They lied. They actually lied. Because Carl didn't stop the war. Carl only made them take Negan captive. So for the future, maybe now people will think twice about killing each other. But that might have been accomplished by well, I am going to ask this question to all of you. If Carl would not have died, when the Saviors, when Laura and the Saviors up on the hill laid their weapons down and held their hands up, if Carl was alive and had not asked everybody to, written all these notes, do you think that they would have mowed them down, just bam, 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 just gotten rid of all of them? Or was there still enough humanity in the Hilltop that they would have taken them anyway? Because I think there was. The reason, no, they wouldn't have. They wouldn't have mowed them down. Grim Reaper, I don't think so. Here's why I'm going to argue no. Hold that thought, everybody. Because Jesus and Maggie were already going to take some of them. Jesus' idea was to capture them. That wasn't Carl. See, Carl's getting credit for stuff that Jesus was already doing. But they would have killed Negan. You guys agree? And what's funny is a lot of people are talking about, well, where's Jesus in all this? What's Jesus' contribution? I would argue that Jesus' contribution to humanity is as strong as Carl's. Let me give you another tidbit here. What is more important? And I kind of know the answer, but think about the level of importance, maybe the scale that we're going for here. Carl wrote a note and said, Dad, don't kill Negan. So Carl wrote a bunch of letters. But Jesus told Morgan, you got a sharp side of the stick and a blunt side of the stick. When you see a walker, use the sharp side. When you see the other side, when you see a human, use the other side. So couldn't one argue that Jesus was trying to do as much to end the war and save humanity as Carl? Now, I know the immediate response can be, no, Carl died. Negan is a bigger fish than Morgan. Okay, I get all that. But think about the scale. And I'm not trying to completely undermine Carl's death, but I'm saying the more I think about how it could have went, it's a little corny. And a bigger story would have been, we did see Carl walking up the dirt road with Rick. We see Rick needs to spend more time with his daughter and enjoy those moments, and that Carl had these feelings that he remembered every little thing about everything. And that's fine. But I would rather see Eugene getting some Carl blood and figuring out ways to test that stuff and saying, and then, Carl basically like taking out a whole herd. Hey, there's 100 walkers, throw Carl in there, come back 30 minutes later, Carl's got, 50, 60 bites, but it doesn't matter because he's immune. You think Wilson, 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, Wilson. You think Jadis had some weapons? How about Carl 2.0? That would have been a weapon. All right, we're going to catch up on a couple comments here, and then we will start to wind this stream down. Let's see. Well, Lonnie says, I thought maybe Morgan was supposed to be the one to sway Rick. Well, it could. So some of you said if, and I'm going to follow back up on this one more time. So if the ultimate goal for humanity is to find a cure, and it's not necessarily newborns. Let's say someone gets picked to be immune. Might be Morgan. Morgan said, I don't die. Is that truth? Is Morgan a prophet? I mean, Morgan can survive both shows. They didn't bring him over there to die. That's for sure. You want to set the Walking Dead universe on its ear? Kill Morgan. Whoa. That would, everybody would be like, that would be complete shock. Well, it is the way, Wilson, Morgan spreading the word. It's almost like that legend. I know people. I was a part of a group, and these people did this, and there was a war. So all of those things eventually will set up, I think, future crossovers. Could set up a show merge, depending on how Fear does. Everybody's loving Fear right now. But Janet, I would too. I'd be okay with Morgan being the one that survives it. Daryl is the cure. Well, there are some really good Daryl topics that we'll talk about. So, hey everybody, this is our first episode of What If. Something we're going to do for the next 8 weeks, and then we'll get back into some junkies, and then we'll pick this up. So we are going to rotate some of the topics from time to time. Once again, I want to say happy birthday to Diane Jones. I want to thank everybody for being here. If you guys could absolutely Charlie, that like button. If you watch Fear the Walking Dead, you'll know exactly what that means. So I appreciate it. A couple things that I do want to announce is 8 o'clock tonight we will do our Fear Countdown. So we will talk about what's going to go down tonight. First episode after Nick. So it's going to be interesting to see the impact of everybody. I'm super excited about that. We will talk about that at 8 o'clock tonight. And then at 10:20 tonight, after Fear the Walking Dead, we'll have a reaction video with a little bit of a recap. So we're going to talk about just a lot of things that are going down. So many people want to talk about Season 9, and we did start early last year. So as a special announcement, tomorrow night on Monday, we're going to get out of the gates and start talking about the pictures, the many time skip, the little things that are going down, the rebuilding, all of those things. We're going to kind of dig down and analyze that. So appreciate, definitely all of you guys are hyping that up. You want to get involved in it. So we're just going to go full steam ahead. Tuesday night, we'll be back with Random Things. If you guys missed Random Things last week, we had an absolute blast. So hopefully you'll be a part of that Tuesday. There's always a Walking Dead topic, but we just mix it up and throw a bunch of things, really casual chat. So if you want to get your crazy ideas out there, that is the stream to be a part of. And then on Wednesday, we will be, actually this Wednesday, there will not be a stream. So I will be offline Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We may be back with a special stream on Saturday. So thing I'd say to everybody, get your fix the next couple episodes. So you want to watch tonight at 8, you want to watch the reaction video, you want to talk about Walking Dead tomorrow night on Monday, and then Random Things on Tuesday, because we're going to be radio silence for 3 days once again. And then once I get back on Saturday, we'll be full steam ahead, so we won't have these lapses. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate everybody being here. Once again, you guys hit that like button. Special shout-out to all the Patreons. Also, you guys can see there's some gear available over on the left side. We got 999 gear. We got Lucille the like button. We got Fear the 999 Army shirts. Oops. Almost went down the wrong path with that. And if you guys will quickly give me a 999, and I will give you some shout-outs. Also, Patreons, you will be in charge of picking the topic for What If next week. And the week after, 999 Army, you will be responsible for, we're going to put a poll next week. I'll have Kel do that. And then you guys can pick a topic, and we'll use that topic afterwards. So thanks. Those of you watching the playback, this is What If Carl Was Immune, not Carl Was Immune. I get it. But we just want to think through it a little bit. Hey, everybody, have a great Sunday. I'll see you tonight at 8 o'clock. I want to say what's up to MD Grim Reaper, Red Razzle, thanks for your participation. Stacy, thanks for being here. Fluff Salisbury, Walker Dead, my moderators, Steph, Emmy, Tommy, Kels, you guys are awesome. Thanks for everything that you guys do. Appreciate you being here. The return of the Cuervo Queen. Ron Burgundy, thanks for being here. Haiti Badoon, thank you. And Janet Person, thank you so much, Janet. Appreciate your contribution to the chat as well. Gina Crockett, thank you. Melinda Kettler. Bumblebee Brown. Also, special shout out to the sponsors. You can see Wilson. If your name is in green, you're a sponsor. Walking Dead Nerd, another sponsor up there. Also, Pete D. Vonda. Jason Mixologist Daily. He's usually on the evening stream, so he'll probably be here at 8. And also Michelle M. I love that 999 emoji. Thank you, Walking Dead Nerd. Appreciate that. That's why we put it there. Thanks, Walani. Gene Atkins. Good to see you. BK Harp. Have a good Sunday. All right, everybody, if I missed you in a shout-out, leave it in the comments below. You may see a video on 999 Dead later on today, so we're going to take some of the comments. But leave comments when these video goes live, because your comments will be discussed in future videos. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful afternoon. Peace.